Hey, welcome inside. This episode is Zippy's Garage. In today's episode, we're going to be doing some modifications to the 2019 Corvette with the help from my friends down at Ciocca Corvettes and our friends from Scrape Armor. So stick around. Hey, so like I said in that quick introduction, we are going to take the C7 Corvette down to Ciocca Corvettes in Atlantic City and put on some new aero. I have a General Motors front, I guess it's the Stage 2 splitter that we're going to be installing on the car. And with that, we're also going to be installing the Scrape Armor protection plate, which works with the General Motors splitter. And the folks at Ciocca Corvette are going to be putting this on. Stick around to the end of the video because I have a little bit of before and after footage. It's been about a month since I've had the Scrape Armor installed on the car, and I want to show you how it's working and what it looks like after about a month of driving. So without any further ado, let's get to Atlantic City. Welcome inside to another episode of Zippy's Garage. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Jeff Zippity Doodah, and this YouTube channel is dedicated to the fun and games associated with being an automotive enthusiast. So if that sounds something you like, please consider subscribing to the channel. Please tell your friends about it. Hit that thumbs up button as well as the bell notification. It really does help with the algorithms with YouTube. Also, make a comment down below. Let me know what you think of the project that we're working on here today. But as you can see from behind me here, we are down in Atlantic City at Ciocca, and the Chevrolet GMC Buick dealership is right across there. And we're going to spin around here. There's my car. And we are at the Cadillac dealership for their service area. And what we're going to do here today, we're doing this to my 2019 Stingray, and you can do this to your brand new 2023 Stingray even before you take delivery down here at Ciocca. What we're doing is we're having the Scrape Armor and the aero updated on the front of this car. So this is the Scrape Armor piece that we had previously had installed down here. I'll put a link to that video down here below. But Scrape Armor had this installed here at Ciocca right after I took delivery of the new to me 2019 Stingray. So today we're going to upgrade the aero with a GM front splitter and then another piece of Scrape Armor that works with the General Motors front splitter. And then while we're here also, we're going to upgrade the side skirts. We're going to remove the OEM ones and we're going to replace it with ACS composite side skirts as well. So we're going to update the look of this 2019 Corvette. And like I said, you can bring your Corvette here and have the work done on your mid-engine Corvette, or quite frankly, you can have it installed here before you even take delivery, as well as getting the XPEL coverage. But one thing you can't do in your new C8 Corvette is bring the splitter with you. So this is one of the benefits of a C7 coupe. Everything goes straight through. So here's the under tray for the front splitter. Here is the front splitter or spoiler. Here is the ACS composite rocker panels in the big white box. And then the Scrape Armor piece that works in conjunction with the OEM General Motors front splitter. So we're going to get this car up on the lift and get all of this installed down here at Ciocca Cadillac Corvettes in Atlantic City. So you can see we've got the car up on the lift right now. We've got a lot of the parts all laid out here on the next service bay, but Scrape Armor is what the premise of this whole video is about. So let's take a look at the C7 Scrape Armor kit. The packaging on this stuff is really, really nice. So it comes with all the screws and rivets for installation. Then this is all part a nice velvet bag with the remaining parts. And then let's take a look at the Scrape Armor kit itself. So again, really nice packaging, and it comes in two pieces. You can see where, let's see, actually it's all, yeah, this one piece here. Yep, it's all one piece. So this is what's going to go underneath the new OEM front splitter. So as we're working through, like I said, I previously had Scrape Armor installed on this car. So the one on the bottom here is the one that we just removed, and the one up top is the new one that we're going to be applying. So when you're on the Scrape Armor website, make sure you pick up the right piece for your particular car. So my Stingray is a Z51 that had no arrow on the front. So that would be this bottom one here that would work. But now that we're adding that OEM front splitter, so I guess that would be either a stage 2 or a stage 3 front splitter, that you can see the different cutouts and so forth, so that are set up to work with the GM OEM splitter. So it's really cool to see Scrape Armor making products that work with the OEM parts. So you can see we now have the splitter or the front spoiler installed. In order to do that, we removed the 2 little side pieces here that were over here. Turn this around, get it set up right, that were done, like kind of set right back in here so that we could install the splitter. So the front spoiler or splitter, whatever you want to refer to it as, is just kind of tacked up there right now. And then what we're going to do is then the under tray gets installed to this part, and then the Scrape Armor goes from there. So it's coming along nicely. The GM OEM front spoiler, splitter, whatever you want to refer to it as, kind of fit up here now, and you can see these air dams are reinstalled. It's tough to see in the light. Come over here, maybe a little bit more light. You can see these are reinstalled now, and then we have the under tray, which kind of fits inside of the splitter. There we go, we got a little bit of light. Thank you, Rich. So what we're gonna do now is the Scrape Armor actually installs into, I believe, this hole here. And what it does is it comes with, reaching around, a little splitter, like almost like a washer that's gonna go right in here, a little spacer. And what that does is it allows the Scrape Armor to then come below the OEM front spoiler to protect the spoiler. So that is what it's intended to do. So we're gonna continue to work along here and get that Scrape Armor installed. So what we're doing now is there's actually little mounting holes that are already pre-drilled in the Scrape Armor, and they go right up into the mounting holes that are in the OEM splitter. So we're just drilling, we're drilling the bolts in, the screws in, and it just mounts right underneath, and this gives you that little extra lip of protection underneath of your front spoiler. So again, Scrape Armor has this for C7 products, C8 products. Go into scrapearmor.com and check out all the different vehicles that they do this for. And you can see it actually comes, it's just not the lip that it's going to protect. It actually comes down, about 4 inches or so under the undercarriage. And part of the, on my car, this under tray wasn't here because I didn't have this stage 2 spoiler, I believe is what this is. And you can see we now have those side air dams back reinstalled that we took off earlier. So it's coming together nicely. All right, cool. So there is some drilling required. It comes with this really cool drill bit from Scrape Armor in the little package. And what it does is we're going to drill some pilot holes for these little torque screws. And what these do is they help connect the back half of the Scrape Armor. So, the inbound side. And you can see, remember I was showing you the differences between the Scrape Armor that came off. Here's those cutouts for this particular model of Scrape Armor that goes with the Corvette that has that front spoiler. So we're going to go ahead and get those drilled so that we can then get the bolts installed. So now we are installing the goop, and I'm sure the Scrape Armor marketing folks are going to have a field day. It is actually a sealer, Scrape Armor sealer. And what they tell you to do is leave a 1/4 inch gap here before you tighten everything up. And this sealer does just that. Once it gets applied, we're then going to come back and tighten up these bottom screws and have that seal really, really tight and keep any debris from getting in between the Scrape Armor and the front spoiler. All right, so in the Scrape Armor kit is this product called Scrape Blend. So it's a blending spray, and what you do is you spray that on so it doesn't allow the stuff to set too fast, because we're gonna basically go back now and smooth out this just like you would. And again, it comes with the piece of equipment to do it, but think about like caulking. If you're doing paint work and so forth, and then you just pull the excess right off. and then you've got a nice clean seal between your scrape armor piece and your splitter. So now that the scrape armor seal is applied, you know, the sealant in between the scrape armor and the splitter, we kind of wiped it down a little bit, it's going to cure. So I would say let it cure for a good 24 hours, and I wouldn't recommend washing the car anytime soon. You want to, you know, give it a good day or so to fully cure. But once this is cured, it is, you know, like I said, it's going to help prevent any debris getting in between your spoiler and your scrape armor. So really the only thing we got left to do is just button up these couple mounting locations on the back side of the scrape armor, and we are going to be good to go. But we've got the ACS composite side skirts or rocker panel extensions installed on the car. We'll be able to get a better look at this once it's off the lift. Come over to the passenger side, go past our Akrapovic exhaust, and here you go. You can see the side skirts are now installed on the car, and we'll get some better content of that once it gets off the lift. All right, so we got the rivets installed now on the side skirts on both sides, but just a quick little look at the undercarriage now with the scrape armor from this angle. So this part is new due to the fact that I changed the spoiler, but you can see how the scrape armor is installed back here. These little torque screws are now installed. Back along here, everything is all buttoned up nice and neat. So we've got the side skirts down. So we're gonna go ahead and get this thing pulled off the lift now and take a closer look at it. All right, so part 2 of this video. We are now back down at Ciocca a few days later, getting some work done on my car down here at Ciocca in conjunction with the folks from Scrape Armor, as well as General Motors and some of the aftermarket or aero parts that they can do. And these guys are in here busy working. I saw Jordan here somewhere. There's Josh number 1. Josh number 2 is here somewhere. How are you, man? Good to see you.
Always a pleasure.
Josh over here in the Cadillac service area, so he'll take care of you. If you're down here in Atlantic City, you need some work done on your car, make sure you connect with Josh. He takes
me. I'll take care of you.
Takes great care of my car, and I jokingly said Josh number 1 because there's a Josh number 2 hiding over here behind the red mist car. So he's busy at work putting a track pack on this particular red mist car, and looks really, really good. And like I said, they converted this second showroom here into basically their XPEL work area. And I'm going to spin back around because you can do a lot of different things here. This particular red car did not want PPF, but only wanted ceramic coating. So this car has been ceramic coated with the XPEL ceramic, and then that red mist is having the PPF installed, and then on top of that PPF, they're going to do a ceramic coating on top of the paint protection film as well as on top of the paint itself. And here's Jordan. Jordan's hard at work. How are you, sir?
How's it going?
Great, man. How are you?
Badges off. Good.
So yeah, they're getting ready to do this car. They're kind of getting ready to clay bar it and removing badges so that when they put the PPF on, it's a straight shot across the front where there's no cutout around that front emblem. So you can see they've got the PPF. And what's your first name?
I'm Brian.
Brian. Brian's here doing all the prep work, so nice to meet you, Brian. But they got the plotters ready to go. They've got the film here, and they get them up on the screens here. And they, you know, you can see Josh still doing the work to get that track pack ready to go on the C8. So do you have a minute to kind of walk around my car? Let's check out what we did here. So
thanks for coming over. We got a couple of red mist ones here, and then we had a lot of fun working on yours. We did the the high wane installed.
Yep.
So we wrapped that in PPF.
So yeah, guys, remember you watched my channel. If you've seen the channel, we put my Akrapovic exhaust on, which you see here on the back. And then when we removed that rear clip, we took the time to swap out, and we put on the, I guess it's the level 3 rear spoiler from General Motors, and these guys wrapped that with XPEL. And then this past week, we also had some ACS composite side skirts put on with the folks down here at the Ciocca service department, and those are now protected with XPEL paint protection on the side skirts. And then up front,
splitter here as well. And these pieces are crucial just because of how low they are to the ground, the road wear and tear. So I mean, these come out I mean anywhere on the Corvette really, but the PPF does a great job. 8 millimeters thick, protects from rock chips. It's self-healing, so any scratches, the plastic can actually mold itself back together with some warmth, some warm water, or just natural sunlight can help heal it.
Right.
So I mean the benefits of it are just tremendous.
You know, and the really cool thing about, you know, this is a C7. This wasn't bought here new. So the fact that you guys are able to do this to owners' vehicles that are bringing them back in is spectacular.
Absolutely, yeah. Our DAT program is set up. I mean, whatever configuration of Corvette C8s, I mean, we do all of them. We do. I mean, side skirts, splitters. We have the DAT program set up. The XPEL guys do great with putting all that stuff in our kits so that we can choose whether it has side skirts, front splitters, and make sure that we get full coverage.
Right. And you know, one of my, I live about an hour and 15 minutes from here. I had this installed last week and didn't really want to drive home and expose this splitter to the road wear and tear. So the beauty of it is you can have it done right here at the dealership. So
absolutely, yeah. The cars are getting, I mean, when they get delivered across the street, once they get unwrapped, because GM wraps them up really well and for transportation, as most people know, and then I mean, we take that unwrapping off and we get them right to prep, you know, so they never hit the road. They don't even drive around our lot without being protected.
And what's really, I think, different here is than, you know, most dealers that'll sell you, you know, some sort of wrap or some sort of, you know, call it some sort of protection product. You guys are actually clay barring and doing the paint correction as well, which I think is one of the steps that most dealerships forget about, is correcting the paint itself. And that's what Brian is doing over here. You're doing all the paint correction, correct?
Yep, and then even this one we'll still probably do a little bit before we get the ceramic coating on. We did the paint correction to the front before we put PPF on, but we know we still have to do a ceramic coating to most of this rear, so just to make sure there was no water spots, like anything that could have come from installation or just from painting at the factory when they were putting the car together, we make sure we get it out before we put any ceramic coating or PPF over top of it, and then, you know, it's in there.
Very, very cool. So again, that's one of the cool things about what you can have done here down here at Ciocca, is these guys will properly prep the car before the PPF is applied. And you know, the nice thing is these guys obviously shipping cars across the country. If you get it done here in Atlantic City and then have a problem with the XPEL, you can then reach out to your local XPEL dealership and look to have it corrected locally. So if there are any issues, you know, 3, 4, 5 years down the road, you don't have to worry about getting it back down here to Atlantic City. So that's pretty cool that you have a national brand in XPEL with national coverage. But you can have your car treated before it even leaves Atlantic City.
Yeah, it's a 10-year warranty through XPEL, and it's any nationwide XPEL installer.
But Jordan, I just wanted to say thank you on camera. Thank you to the team down here at Ciocca for everything that they did. They did this scrape armor installed on this stage 2 or stage 3. I don't even know. You guys tell me what stage aero this is. But it's a GM OEM factory part on the front with the scrape armor protection underneath. And like I said, you can barely see that scrape armor that's listed right under here that's going to protect this front spoiler throughout my daily driving of this particular car. And then the ACS composite side skirts done up in carbon flash now have the PPF from XPEL on here. And then going back to the rear spoiler, again, they PPF'd this face as well as this face as well. So thank you. Now my car is completely protected. Okay, as promised, I wanted to do a quick little check-in, show you what the scrape armor looks like after it's been on the car for about 2 months and probably about 2,500 miles on the car already. One thing that I've learned going in and out of my daughter's school, the entrance in and out of the school, It definitely has a big dip to it, and I've got to really take that careful even before I had the front splitter put on. Now that I have this splitter put on the car, it really does, got to be really careful going in and out of that location. And then, like most people going in and out of their driveway apron, will scrape some of the plastic air deflectors. That certainly is the case with my car as well. I've actually considered taking those off. But without any further ado, got the car back down here at Ciocca, and we have it up on their alignment rack. And what we're gonna do is just take a quick look at what the scrape armor looks like now that the car has been driven. And full disclosure, guys, the car is dirty. I drive this car every day. The car is not abused by any stretch of the imagination, but just in this past week, I put probably 1,200 miles on it in the last 3 days. So the car is dirty. It's got some wear to it, but I'll clean it up and it'll look as good as new. But let's take a look underneath here at the scrape armor itself. You can see still nice tight seal here up against the splitter. No issues there whatsoever. And then you can take a look underneath here, and we're gonna bend the camera down a little bit, see if I can get some auxiliary lighting in here. But you can see here, the scrape armor is doing its job. You can see right along here, there are some scrape marks, and that's exactly what you want the scrape armor to do. You want the scrape armor to take that abuse, not necessarily your front splitter. So really thrilled to see the scrape armor doing its job. You can see that the scrapes that are right in here, but the splitter is in perfect condition. And it's also, you know, been protected with XPEL, and you can see here's a little piece of the XPEL that took a hit, and quite frankly, you can just replace that and it'll be good as new. So coming all the way over here on the passenger side, you can see here the scrape armor again is doing its job. That's what you want to take the abuse, not your splitter. So the scrape armor is doing its job, and you can see the air deflectors here. Again, these things get abused and they're frayed. I pulled a piece off of here, but they're plastic and they move, whereas the splitter really does not move. You don't want that splitter to move. And you can see, again, the scrape armor is doing its job, taking the abuse, and that's what it was designed for. One little bit of information here, since adding the new splitter to the car, it has changed the approach angle on my lift. You know I have a lift at home, so I actually have to order some new race ramps at a different angle to get the C7 up on the lift. So really happy to report back that the scrape armor is doing its job as designed, and you can do all of that down here at Ciocca. Get the scrape armor put on, get the XPEL put on. You can do that to your brand new C8 that you're picking up down here, or you can bring your current Corvette down to these guys and they can do that work here as well. So a huge thank you to Scrape Armor, huge thank you to Ciocca Corvettes for doing all of this. And like I said, guys, it is working. You can see all the abuse that the Scrape Armor is taking. That's exactly what it's designed to do. Gotta love a product that works as advertised.